All right, guys, we're at Six Forks Farm with an exciting day today. We're gonna move the chickens. Moving the chickens from the barn to the tractors. Now, what in the world does that mean? Let me explain that to you. We have about 75 laying hens and then about 100 Cornish cross. So we've got almost 200 birds, including the ones that are in the back with the pigs in the forest. And so these babies that we have been raising since baby chicks, they're moving from the barn because now they've been actually big enough for several days now, but we haven't been able to put them out on pasture because it's been getting a little cold at night and it's got to be above a certain temperature. It's been getting in the 50s and 60s at night, and that's a little bit too cold for them, as little as they are. So we're going to put those in the tractors and follow the cows, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. So we got the cows in the net over there, and they get moved about 3 times a day, and they're eating the grass. And you'll be able to see what the grass looks like when I walk over here compared to where they've been, where they're going, and where they haven't grazed yet. All right, over here we've got the bull and the sheep and our ram. And you can see the grass, what it looks like where they were even a few days ago, where it's already been grazed, versus where they haven't been in about 30 days. So these guys get moved about once a day, sometimes every other day, and you can see a clear example of where they're grazing now versus where they haven't grazed versus where they just were on this grass here. Now this grass is resting and it won't get grazed or touched again for another at least 30 to 60 days. Now back to the chickens. Let me explain what that means, where the chickens will act as the cleanup crew. So grass will grow only a certain height, and it uses all of its energy to grow above ground until it gets to be a certain height, and then when that happens, then the roots will establish. Now when the roots establish, then that will enrich the soil. The soil will be moist and it will be rich, and the roots will hold the water in the soil, and that's kind of the whole point of this versus just letting them graze. The grass has to be able to rejuvenate, hence the name regenerative, and be able to heal. And so when that happens, we'll have thicker, fuller grass that holds the moisture and hopefully not have droughts when other people have droughts. Now, when the cows move and they're in their nets and they move about 3 times a day, the chickens in these little chicken tractors over here, and I'll go over there and show you what those look like, they're going to move about 2 days behind the cows. And the reason that we do that is that gives time for flies and the bugs and everything to generate inside the manure of the cows, right? And then the chickens will follow along in these tractors, and they'll aerate the soil, they'll finish eating the grass, and they'll eat the larvae out of the manure, and we won't have any flies. So the chickens are really the best workers because they'll scratch at the soil looking for food. They'll, like I said, eat the larvae out of the manure, and they'll aerate that soil, and they'll move along right behind the cows, probably a day or 2 behind. So here's what they look like. Hi guys, good morning.
Morning. This one, we just caught a spider. It's a huge one. Oh my god.
So these chickens will get big. These are the Cornish hen cross. And these chickens will get big, and then when that happens, we'll process these chickens for meat. But these tractors will get pulled along. You see that chain there? They'll get pulled along right behind the cows, along behind their path. They're eating the bugs already, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them ate a wolf spider.
So we have to figure out this water bucket, right?
Yeah, and we were talking, John. I think we're gonna put all 50 or all 100 in here,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna temporarily put the layers in the other one just until their coop gets here.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Cause like,
And then transfer the other 50 back here, and
well, and like, just if they get too big for this, because I kind of feel like this might hold all of them.
oh yeah, especially the size that they are right now.
Yeah. So as they get bigger, we could transfer them. But
They're gonna eat that anyway because it's still kind of chilly.
Yeah,
So they can all hold them together.
it's true.
The more bodies, the better. Don't they look so happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So cute.
yeah, happier than they were in the barn.
Maybe people do it like. Maybe people just.
All right, you guys bear with me here while I'm carrying my drill and a few screws. Now, when we say process these chickens have a really specific job, and they live to be about 7 or 8 weeks tops. And if we try to keep them longer than that, they'll just die off. It doesn't seem like a very long time, but that's their lifespan for these Cornish cross hens. They get too big and they're really awkward. Their legs get too big. They can barely walk when they get to be a certain age. And so they don't even get big enough to start laying eggs. And so that's kind of their lifespan, and we're going to harvest them before that happens, before they get too big. And then we'll process them, and then we'll sell them for the cleanest meat possible.
There you go. Okay, good boy. You did it. Yeah.
In my head.
There's the layers in here, guys. And these guys are going to live longer than, I say these girls, they're going to live longer than the 7 or 8 weeks. They're going to go in a larger coop, movable coop, which we're going to have a larger tractor. And they're going to lay eggs for us along the way while they're doing their job as cleanup crew out here. All right, here is a perfect example of what doesn't look very pleasant, but that's chicken food right there. And this is behind the tractors, so we're gonna have to get those on the next rotation because they're headed that way.